You poodly at the poodly Yankee Sankey, orang tang, daddy. You poodly at the poodly Yankee Sankey, orang tang, daddy. Oh, boy. Shalamar, Shalamar, Swami Show. Me think that job was small. Come on, boys, let's have a ball.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dreamality. Welcome to my review of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Is this game worth your money? Is it worth your time? That's the question I'm here to help answer. So let's begin this review by breaking down the story.
The boy gets caught making a fool of himself, and he still hasn't learned his lesson. So Deutsch spouts rubbish and what? You turn into a common thug. You might win a fight with violence, but you'll never win an argument. Remember, Henry, if you want to convince someone that they're wrong, try using your mouth and not your fists.
It seems like a normal day in paradise. Henry's sleeping in after a night of partying, he goes out to do some chores, gets into some trouble with his friends. You know, the usual, throwing manure at people's houses for insulting the king. We've all been there. And spends some quality time with his father forging a sword. And then it all changed. The village is attacked, the people slaughtered. Henry watches helplessly as his parents are killed right in front of his eyes. On top of that, somebody steals the sword that Henry and his father forged together. From that moment on, Henry has two goals. He wants to kill the person that killed his parents and reclaim the sword that was taken from him. I did go off the beaten path quite a bit, but a majority of my time went towards the main quest. It took me over 80 hours to complete the main quest. It is a massive story. The first 7 hours of story, really enjoyed it. The rest, not so much. Time and time again, the story went off into directions that I personally found very uninteresting. For example, you spend a couple hours trying to figure out who raided this village. And my problem goes hand in hand with mission structure, which I'll get into later, but basically you're going from point A to B to C to D to E to F to G, interviewing people, trying to solve the mystery like you're Nancy Drew. A majority of these story arcs are way too long and completely overstay their welcome. My problem isn't so much with the subject as it is with setup and delivery. Aside from the beginning, there are a couple of moments I enjoyed throughout this story, such as a moment that involves a priest. I find the characters to be very forgettable. I do like some of the writing here though. There's a ton of dialogue in this game and the cutscenes can get very long. Luckily, if you don't want to watch them, you can skip them. I wouldn't say everything about the story is realistic, but they did a great job of keeping it believable. Except for one scene very close to the end that felt very out of place. It's a moment that kickstarts the final chapters. It's supposed to be an epic surprise twist. A character makes a dumb decision, but scary movie dumb. You know, the kind where you're watching and you're like, nobody would do that. Considering the circumstances, nothing about it was believable, and the crazy thing is, they could have approached it many different ways and ended with the same result. Plain and simple, that was a moment of bad writing. I do want to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. I will say I found the conclusion to be very unsatisfying. Just a bunch of loose ends. Couldn't manage to bring the story to a close in 80 hours? Really? I don't have a problem with an open ending, but this does not feel like a complete story. Kingdom Come Deliverance is an open-world first-person RPG set in the medieval ages. The first 6 hours or so are primarily tutorial-based. There is a lot to learn, but the game is very easy to pick up. I really like the pacing and teaching the player all of the ropes. I never felt overwhelmed. To make things a bit easier, you aren't free to explore the open world until hour 5 or 7. The map is very large. You can travel on foot, by horse, or by using the fast travel system. I wish the fast travel system would just teleport me to where I need to go. On top of that, when using this system, you can get stopped by bandits forcing you to get back into the game. If you don't want to fight, you can just ride forward for about a minute and then fast travel again. I understand the thought process behind this system, but I still find it time-wasting and irritating. There are some survival elements going on here. You need to make sure Henry eats, that he sleeps. You have to repair your weapons, your clothing, your armor. Henry will actually get dirty, and he'll get bloodstains on him after a fight. fight. People react to your appearance, so you're gonna have to clean yourself up. I enjoyed the game's combat system. You can fight unarmed, or there are a couple different melee weapons you can choose from. There are 5 directions you can attack and defend from. You can parry, evade. The more you use a weapon class, the more you level it up, and once you level up, you learn combos. You can lock on to your opponents, but even when you enter combat mode, there's an auto lock going on, which got kind of annoying sometimes when I wanted to quickly flee or look down at a dead body and loot it. But the auto lock is still there, and even when I do break free, it isn't a smooth transition. I would like to see improvements with combat while on your horse. I personally really enjoyed the archery in this game. There's no aiming reticle. You're gonna have to learn the motion and know when to release. You can speed up time. This is another screen that, when I think about how much time I spent throughout my playthrough looking at it, it saddens me. So much time. There are many things being changed with future updates, like how lockpicking works on console. How in the world did that make it through testing to begin with? That is one question I think we'll never know the answer to. If you do illegal stuff and get caught, you hurt your reputation. But the real punishment is staring at everyone's favorite time loading screen, which can take minutes. Why can't it just be hurting my reputation? I don't want to stare at this for 4 minutes. You know what they say, Dream, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Something that I love is that there are multiple ways to complete a mission. For example, very early on, there's a mission where Henry has to escape this castle. It isn't as easy as walking through the front doors though. Henry's supposed to be staying put healing. I was talking with this guard and he said, look, I can't let you through, but if you were dressed up wearing a knight's uniform, well then yeah, you can get on by easily. So in a case like this, one way to find a solution is by talking with NPCs. But you are free to use your imagination. In this case, I saw an opening, jumped out. Yeah, it was hard on the knees, but alas, I was a free man. Or so I thought until a guard stopped me and said, hey, you're not supposed to be out here. Luckily, I used my charm to talk my way out of it. In this case, the guy sympathized with Henry and I was free to go. There are many moments in this game where these icons will appear next to your dialogue options. Each one represents a different skill: speech, charisma, and strength. In this case, I picked speech, and because my skill level was higher than his, I succeeded in persuading him to let me go. Sometimes by failing to persuade someone, you may need to resort to using force. I do like this system in the game, especially because sometimes you only have a single try to persuade someone, and whether or not you succeed is going to affect how that mission plays out. You will be talking a lot in this game. A majority of these missions require Henry to travel to places, talk to people, and gather information. It becomes very tedious, it becomes a chore. The opposite of fun, if you will. Here's an early mission that kind of encompasses how a lot of these missions play out. This mission is called A Ginger in a Pickle. You're trying to figure out who raided this village. You question the townspeople who don't tell you much. You look around in the woods and you find this dead bandit. On him, he has a bloody hoof pick. This has got to belong to somebody. You go back to town, you ask around, does anybody know who this hoof pick belongs to? Right away, someone says, yeah, that belongs to a guy named Ginger. You can find him hanging out with some coal burners. Boom, get on your horse, ride to the first coal miner location, you get there, you get off, you talk with the people and they say, he isn't here, we should go check the other camp. Boom, get on your horse, ride to the other camp, talk with some people and they say, I know exactly who you're talking about. That is great to hear because but he isn't here, you should go check the other camp. Boom! Get on your horse, ride to the other camp, get off your horse, talk with the people, and they say, yeah, I know, Ginger, but guess what, Dream? He ain't here, so you better keep on looking, Dream. The goose chase continues, Dream. You having fun doing all this tedious work? That is actual in-game audio, and I'm pretty sure Troy Baker's the voice actor. That guy's in everything. And guess what? Once you find Ginger, he tells you about somebody else, a new quest begins, and now you gotta go find that guy. That's how a majority of the missions play out. A bunch of investigating, questioning, and traveling. Like I said, the story would be uninteresting, so I couldn't invest myself from that perspective, and now the gameplay's boring and tedious. From time to time, there would be a little bit of combat, but if I look back at my first 30 hours, sticking to the main quest, doing a couple of side quests, not much action. Just know going into this is a very slow experience. There are moments of larger scale battles, but, well, I'll let the footage speak for itself. You tell me if it looks fun. On a positive note, I do like that some of these missions are time sensitive. There is a side quest in this game that involves you healing some sick people, and if you can't do it fast enough, well then they die. I really like how this economy system works. Specifically that traders have their own wealth, and the more you sell to them, the higher their wealth gets with time, because the idea is they take the items you sold to them and sell it to somebody else for a higher price. So after selling to them, if you wait a day or so, they'll have even more wealth when you see them, which means you can sell them more items and make more money. Another positive for me is the perk and skill system this game has. There are a lot of skills you can work on in this game. By working on skills, you can level them up. Once you level up a specific skill, you can unlock perks. This game caters to many different playstyles. Henry's talent is being naturally untalented. Honestly, he's one of the most useless protagonists I have seen in a while, but it's supposed to be that way. You see, Henry is basically a blank slate. You need to shape him into what you want him to be. People learn from my mistakes. About 30 hours in, I was versing this boss. I have no shame in saying he destroyed me multiple times. Didn't even feel bad about it. This bald man defied the laws of the universe. You should have seen it. This guy wasn't human. He had these insane combos that if you got stuck in one of them, surprise, you're dead. Did I mention he had unlimited stamina? Never got tired. After losing so many times, I finally came to the realization that my Henry was a joke. My stats, my armor, my weapons were laughably bad. The reason is, up to that point, I had been getting by just fine. I never felt the need to train to upgrade my equipment to better my weapons. But after losing to this guy a number of times, I made it my life's mission to end him. But I knew my Henry stood no chance, not in his current state anyway. But no more being this man's punching bag, no more being the joke of the kingdom. It was time for Henry to become someone else, to become something else. I loaded up a previous save and my training began. I improved my skills with the longsword. I worked on my attack, learned new combos. I worked on my timing, offense and defense. I needed a better sword. Didn't have the money, so I robbed the shop. Went hunting to work on my accuracy and to level up my skills with the bow. Collected the meat, sold the meat, made money, bought armor. Finally, it came time for the rematch. And I know what you're all wondering. Did I win? Of course I did. Considering the game's size, I think the graphics overall are pretty good. For me, the highlight are the woods. It's very beautiful in there, very calm. Voice acting overall is pretty good. And I do like that all of the characters in this game are voiced. Where do we begin? I guess I should start by saying performance issues are something that can be addressed with time. The makers know the game launched in a bug-filled, unfinished state. They are working to fix it, and they have released a couple updates since launch. A majority of my footage and playtime are from the first 3 weeks. There is a ton of work that still needs to be done with this game, but goodness me. My time with this game has been single-handedly the worst gaming experience I've had on this channel. The frame rate drops very often. It isn't the end of the world when I'm traveling through town, but when it drops during combat, a moment where timing is important, say goodbye to the fun because it's gone. There have been a ton of goofy little bugs while playing or watching a cutscene. Wow, what a cinematic experience. Quest markers wouldn't show up. For my last 20 hours, I had this main quest notification pop up time and time again. I finished that quest a long time ago. But you know, why not throw a little extra something at the player to break them mentally? I ran into a bug where my horse wouldn't move. Only solution, loading up a previous save. Oh joy. For my last 70 hours, I ran into a bug where I couldn't sell stolen goods to this guy, which is a big deal if I wanted to play as a thief. You know what? Speaking of robbing people, this game robbed me of 15 hours due to game-breaking bugs and crashes. 15 hours, but who's keeping count? I am. You wanna know what the problem is? I'm looking at this the wrong way. It isn't 15 hours lost, it's 15 hours gained, redoing a bunch of boring and tedious missions that, guess what, aren't any more fun the second time around. Oh, talk about fun, this game spoils me. On hour 40, I ran into a bug where my character couldn't sit down and he couldn't sleep, making the game unplayable. The only solution was to go back a couple of saves, causing me to lose 6 hours of progress. How did that make me feel? Good question. Wow, what an amazing experience it is to know every single time I boot up the game, it isn't a question of am I going to run into some bugs, some performance problems. No. It's a question of how severe are they going to be and how many hours am I going to lose this time?
Every day, 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 every day,
I feel like I'm losing my mind. There, Dream, relax. This is completely normal for a game of this size and genre. It is? Oh yeah, this happens all the time. You know, Dream, I'm wondering why are you withholding crucial information from the viewers? What are you talking about? You mean you don't know this game's backstory, the history of this game? Well, there's his problem. He's not informed. You gotta go easy on him. Here's what you need to know. The game raised about $1.5 million on Kickstarter, had a total budget of about $37 million. That's a lot less than those big games. On top of that, it's only a team of 100 people, Dream. And this is their first game ever. Not bad if I do say so myself. Wow, really? That is impressive. Doesn't knowing that make everything okay? Okay, so what you're saying is as a customer, I should lower my standards, yeah? And as a person, I shouldn't value my time. You see, I knew you would get it. You're so smart. Congratulations, you have made it to the conclusion. Despite me criticizing a lot about this game, I still find it very impressive. And of course, much more so after learning the story behind the game. I really like some of the game's systems, such as the economy, how time plays a role in some of these missions, and the perk system. I was also really enjoying the story at the start, and then the story turned bad. The context of these missions were uninteresting. The missions themselves weren't fun. A majority of the time, I don't feel like I was actually doing anything other than going from one place to the other talking to people. And when I would finally be given a task, it felt more like a chore. And of course, those performance problems have been through the roof. Hopefully they get fixed. Even performance issues aside, I don't find the game fun. For me, this wasn't worth my money. It wasn't worth my time. I don't recommend it. I am very well aware that other people are loving this game and it has received a ton of praise. I feel like I'm out of the loop on this one. But you know the saying, this game isn't for everyone? Well, that's the case for me here. If you are still on the fence, the best advice I can give you is to wait, and if you can, buy it on PC. That is it. I am done. You have heard my thoughts. Now please share yours. Whether you love the game or you hate the game or you're somewhere in the middle, let me know how you feel about Kingdom Come Deliverance. I hope this review was helpful, maybe a little bit enjoyable. If you have any questions, feel free to ask down below. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help. And of course, thank you for watching. Here we go, closing announcements. My next review will be of Sea of Thieves. I have been wanting to play this game for a very long time. I can't wait to jump in that water. And the review after that is going to be of Far Cry 5. I have been hearing amazing things about that villain. Can't wait to see how he is. And that is how the cookie crumbles. I will see you all soon, and thanks again.
Got you. And now I'll fix you good and proper. You'll soon learn what justice means.
What?
Don't bother trying to deny it.
What?
Don't play the innocent. I have witnesses who saw you in the act of murder.
Got you! And now I'll fix you good and proper. You'll soon learn what justice means.
What?
Don't bother trying to deny it. Do you seriously think you can get away with murder and other crimes? Not... If it was up to me, I'd...
What?